Hello, welcome back to my channel. Another day, another rebirth. I hope all is well. I hope you're loving yourself and letting yourself be loved. I know it's been a minute. Life been life, and I've been feeling so many things, starting and ending so many things, so many projects, so many relationships, so many ideas of myself. Today was the day. Tonight is the night of a Sagittarius full moon. I'll be uploading it the night of. So if you find it now, take this all in. If you find it later, take this all in, because this energy can always be used for later, and you can always use a message from the past, because life is cyclical, not linear. We're always going to be going through similar things, similar emotions, sheddings, renewals. But my birthday just passed. I'm going through my Saturn return. I have my Saturn is in Aries in the 10th house. So it is like career focused for me. I'm feeling a lot of things because I always felt like stagnancy and obstacles in my career life. But I'm feeling a lot less tension there. And I'm feeling more free. That's because I feel more free, and I'm being more honest in my art, more honest in the way I show up on this phone in front of other cameras. And I think maybe that's what was stopping me. I was afraid of being seen a type of way. But this full moon is about raw honesty about truth, about passion, about being fiery, about not holding back. And I was gifted an oracle deck for my birthday by my dear friend, my sweet friend Caitlin. And it's a beautiful deck. I'll make sure I put it in the link. It's such a beautiful deck. It's based on the elements of the earth, right? And you know, I was getting a lot of fire signs and a lot of passion, but also a lot of air based on dishonesty and me not being honest in my spiritual practices and about myself, to myself, and to those that are trying to form a relationship with me. And today I was like, dang, I have not been honest about something. So I released all that I was holding, and I told my ballroom community how I felt about something that was said to and about me. And they immediately hopped on my line. I was like, hey, what's up? How you feeling? Let's get to the bottom of this, like, right now. And I appreciated that. And you know, you never know who else you're freeing by freeing yourself. I'm gonna say this again. You never know who and what else you are freeing by freeing yourself, by talking about that one thing that harmed you, that hurt you, that touched and triggered you in the wrong way. You could be acknowledging generations of trauma, of cycles, even if it's not like blood family. When I told them what was like bothering me, and it was a comment about my body, and you know, I know they didn't mean it in the way that I took it, but sometimes most times consequences outweigh intentions, right? Don't mind this squeaky chair. Consequences outweigh intentions, and just because you don't say something while trying to hurt somebody does not mean that it won't. And so I told them that, and basically everybody kind of let go, and it brought us closer, honestly, because you know, we can't always label people good, bad, just off of a human thing. I just wanted them to know how I felt and how sensitive I am about my body, because my body has been through so many things. All of our bodies have been through so many things, so many different things. And I was like, I'm finally getting to the point where I feel comfortable, not trying to appeal to the Eurocentric gaze, right? So I'm gonna need comments like that to chill, because how can I heal and learn to love myself when I feel like the things that are being said are triggering those same raw spots? Like, you keep poking a wound, how the hell is it gonna heal, right? So yeah, this video is about honesty, and it's about people pleasing. You not telling your truth can be a form of people pleasing because you don't want to seem a certain way. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. Think about the things that people did to you. They weren't considering about hurting your feelings. They weren't concerned about that. They weren't considering your feelings. LOL, I'm stuttering because I'm getting so passionate about this because I'm like, you care about them people's feelings, they ain't care about yours. But at some point, especially when you talk about formal initiations, talking about priesthood, being a leader, being a spiritual guide, even if you're not trying to be those things. But when we think about those kind of people, they tell their truth, but they're not mean about it. I'm learning how to not be overly aggressive because that anger, that rage, I can feel that. But not everybody needs to know how intense it is, right? Because sometimes you can just feel it in the energy. I call that nasty niceness. You can be nasty nice about something, but you ain't got to be calling people this and that and this and that, because at the end of the day, it's a defense mechanism. And is that really how you want to defend yourself? You can defend yourself just by standing in your truth. Just by pulling people to the table and being like, look, we can't do this no more. People will feel you, and people will start to see that they are projecting and that they shouldn't do those things to anybody else. Now, I'm not here trying to police your feelings, because if you want to beat somebody's tail, by all means, go do it, but be willing to face those consequences, right? But like I said, this video is about telling the truth and people pleasing and how to stop doing that. Because realizing that once you set yourself free, you're going to set so many other things free. And people pleasing is a form of manipulation, right? People pleasing is a form of manipulation because you're tricking people. You're altering your person. You're altering the things you would say just so people can like you. And that's kind of messed up, right? Sometimes we don't intentionally do it. We don't try to intentionally manipulate people, but you're trying to manipulate a situation to where it's always in your favor. Everything can't always be in our favor. Sometimes people gonna have to fall out with us. Sometimes people gonna have to dislike us. You can't be everybody's cup of tea, right? You can't be. You shouldn't try to be. You shouldn't try to be, because sometimes when you try to be everybody's cup of tea, you end up being too piping hot for them. You might end up being a little poisonous for them if they try to take a drink of you, if that makes sense, if that metaphor makes sense. You got to state what you are, how you are, what makes you feel off rip. And yeah, sometimes even if you do that, people are going to continue to guess and continue to put false things onto you. And they're going to continue to view you in a way that doesn't even make sense because of them. But that's their business. When you've been honest, when you've been vulnerable, you just got to let it go. Because I used to be like, oh, they're going to be like, she's a crybaby. She's too sensitive. And what? I'm sensitive because I be knowing. And I be knowing because I'm sensitive, right? Right? So don't ever let nobody make you feel bad for not having a veil over your eyes, for seeing everything for what it is. Because those people that are mad at you about that are people pleasers. Because they're somewhere in their timeline trying to alter outcomes by pretending to be somebody else. And that's why everybody mad. You can be so free. And you're learning how to be so free and so unapologetic about who you are and about what you've been through. About how you feel, about standing 10 toes down. Stop trying to convince people to love you by being something else, by telling a different story. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to come clean. You're going to have to eventually come into an authentic version of yourself. And everything around you is not going to make sense. Stop dimming your light trying to be kind, right? A lot of us people please by dimming our light. They're already gonna have so much to say about you because you're popping and you're beautiful and you're talented and you're intuitive. People are gonna have so much to say about that. They're gonna talk their ish. Let them. But don't When you feel these things and you want to acknowledge them, don't be mean about it. Be kind. You can be filled with rage and anger, like I said, but be kind about it. Look people in their eyes and say, I see you for what you are. But do it kindly. Because they're already trying to figure something out about you. That's not right. Don't give them a reason to. Make them more angry. Because the kind of you are that get so angry because they're always trying to find out, what is it about her? What is it about him that I don't like? They can't find nothing. And here you go trying to people please because you know they don't like you because of your light. And you're trying to convince yourself, oh, it's something else. It's because I'm to this. It's because I'm to that. And you're in the room people pleasing, hiding the way you feel because you already feel like everything is against you. And this is where the head gets heavy from the crown. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? And you have to be able to walk in rooms where you don't feel like nobody likes you. But don't dim your light out of faux kindness. Be who you are. Stand in that. I used to try to suppress my fierceness, suppress my opinions, my sensitivity, people pleasing, stroking egos, because I know they are fragile. But forget them. Let them break. Let them crumble. Let them spend the rest of their life trying to figure out why you are so favored. You don't have to manipulate the outcome, manipulate the room. It is what it is. And let it be that, just that. Don't mind me if the camera angle is a little different. Phone fell, I had to take it down. But you know what? A wise person just told me a couple days ago. People have it wrong when they say, once your cup is full, then you can pour some to someone else. She says, no. When you have a full cup and you pour it to someone else, it gets back empty. Your cup has to be overflowing. That way you know you're going to get replenished every time. I said, whoa, that's deep. And you think about it. Sometimes we're like, oh, I can breathe now. I can help somebody else. But that breathing time is for you, for setting boundaries, for trying to keep yourself together. You can't always be running to save someone because you're scared of how they're going to react. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. Some of us are this way because our parents conditioned us to be this way. We used to get hit, yelled at, called selfish for not wanting to share, for not wanting to do things that we weren't quite comfortable doing. Give our toys, give our food, and even deeper than that, like, you know, especially I know my people with siblings, I've seen it with my friends, exhausting themselves for their siblings, stretching themselves thin for their siblings, because that's a lot what the Black family looks like. I can't speak for nobody else, but I know what that looks like. I know some people that practice Ifa who have personal spiritual taboos that say they cannot do favors. They cannot give favors. I'm like, dang. Ifa says, you cannot do any favors until I say otherwise. That's deep. That's deep. And we have to remember that sometimes spirit, creator, is the one telling us to, hold on, be a little more selfish. You're giving too much of yourself away. I don't like that. Control that. You're not being honest about how they're making you feel. You're trying to manipulate this room. And I also want to say some of y'all are liars. Like cold hard liars. And you think it's okay because you're protecting yourself. And I understand that. But understand that a liar is a liar. I used to lie, tell little white lies to protect myself because I was shamed. Shame has no room here. Shame has no room here. You've talked your way into manipulating, creating a false image because of shame. Shame can and will kill you if you let it. You will spend your whole life pretending to be something you're not, And then your last breath, you're realizing that you never been able to breathe until then, until you finally let that one out because you've been uptight. You've been scared to be yourself. You've been walking in rooms, pretending, cosplaying, whatever you think is acceptable. And if you don't feel like the true version of you is acceptable, then baby, you need to be somewhere else. You need to know what a safe place feels like. You need to know how to be alone and how to choose yourself and choose being authentic rather than fake community. I feel like I'm gonna make a part 2 of this because I feel so deeply about this because I feel like another version of me is unfolding. The version that God called me to be is unfolding so I can be who I need to be for myself, for community. But I know that you're walking towards that version of you that God wants to see, that God called to be, that your ancestors know you to be. I believe in you and I love you. Until next time, my loves. Peace. And oh yeah, new song alert, link in bio. Wanna get to know you, there's some things I wanna